I recently discovered something that completely transformed my ability to remember virtually anything. 4 weeks ago, I couldn't memorize a simple grocery list. Today, I can memorize entire books, speeches, and complex information with nearly perfect recall. The secret? An ancient technique called the memory palace. The method I'm about to share with you has been used by memory champions, top students, and high achievers for thousands of years. But here's what's fascinating. Modern neuroscience has finally validated why this technique works so effectively. Think about your childhood home for a moment. Can you mentally walk through each room? Notice how effortlessly you can recall where everything was placed? That's because your brain is naturally wired to remember spatial information. We're going to harness that innate ability to create an unstoppable memory system. This isn't just another memory trick. Memory palaces represent one of the most powerful mnemonic techniques ever developed. They enable you to store vast amounts of information within imagined spatial environments by leveraging your brain's natural visual spatial processing abilities. The technique dates back to ancient Greece, where the poet Simonides of Chios reportedly discovered it after surviving a building collapse. He found he could identify victims by recalling exactly where they had been seated. This accidental discovery led to one of the most powerful memory systems ever created. Throughout history, this method has been known by different names. The method of Losie's, the Journey method, and more recently as Sherlock's Mind Palace in popular media. But regardless of what you call it, the core principle remains the same. By converting information into vivid mental images and placing them in familiar locations, you can dramatically enhance your ability to remember anything. What makes this technique so powerful is that it doesn't require any special talent or genetic gift. Anyone can learn it. I've taught this method to students, professionals, and even elderly individuals worried about memory decline. The results have been nothing short of remarkable. Think about how this could transform your life. Imagine giving presentations without notes, learning new languages effortlessly, mastering complex subjects with ease, or never forgetting an important fact again. These aren't just hypothetical benefits. They're real outcomes that practitioners of the memory palace technique achieve regularly. In the next few minutes, I'm going to break down exactly how to build your own memory palace system. You'll learn the step-by-step process, the crucial principles that make it work, and how to avoid the common mistakes that most beginners make. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete framework for developing your own extraordinary memory abilities. But first, it's important to understand that this isn't about becoming a human calculator or a party trick performer. While those applications are possible, the real power of memory palaces lies in their ability to help you learn, grow, and master any subject that interests you. This is about expanding your cognitive capabilities in ways that can fundamentally change how you experience and interact with the world. Let's dive into the fascinating neuroscience that explains why memory palaces work so effectively. Brain scans of memory champions reveal something remarkable. 90% of them use the method of loci, and their brains show distinct patterns of activation in regions associated with spatial awareness and memory formation. These areas include the medial parietal cortex, which plays a crucial role in memory formation and retrieval. The retrosplenial cortex, vital for navigation and memory, becomes highly active when using memory palaces. But perhaps most importantly, the right posterior hippocampus, the brain's spatial cognition center, shows enhanced development in regular practitioners. Think about our evolutionary history for a moment. Our ancestors needed to remember vast amounts of spatial information to survive. Where to find food, how to return home, which areas were dangerous. The brain evolved sophisticated mechanisms for processing and remembering this type of information. Abstract concepts like numbers, names, and facts are relatively recent challenges in evolutionary terms. This explains why we can easily remember the layout of our childhood home, but struggle to memorize a list of random numbers. Memory palaces work by converting abstract information into the type of spatial visual data our brains naturally excel at processing. The evidence for this is compelling. Studies show that people trained in memory palace techniques demonstrate significantly enhanced recall abilities compared to other methods. This improvement is particularly noticeable in delayed testing scenarios, suggesting the technique builds stronger, more permanent memory traces. But here's what's really fascinating. Using memory palaces actually changes your brain structure over time. Regular practitioners develop increased gray matter density in regions associated with spatial processing and memory formation. It's like building mental muscle through consistent exercise. Research has shown that damage to these brain regions significantly impairs spatial learning abilities. Studies with rats having retrosplenial cortex lesions demonstrated they struggled to remember which areas of a maze they had previously visited, mirroring the importance of this brain region in humans using memory palaces. The technique's effectiveness isn't limited by age or natural ability. Studies have shown significant improvements in memory performance across all age groups, from students to elderly individuals. This suggests that the method taps into fundamental cognitive processes that remain robust throughout our lives. When you use a memory palace, you're essentially creating a mental framework that aligns perfectly with your brain's natural strengths. You're not fighting against your cognitive architecture. You're working with it in the most efficient way possible. Now let's get practical and build your first memory palace. The process begins with selecting an appropriate location, ideally somewhere you know intimately. Your current home, childhood house, or workplace are excellent choices for beginners. Start by choosing a specific route through your selected location. You'll want to create a clear, linear path without any crossing points or confusion. For example, begin at your front door, move to the entryway, then the living room, kitchen, and so forth. Here's a crucial principle most beginners miss. You need to establish fixed stations along your route. These are specific spots where you'll place information. Don't just vaguely think kitchen. Instead, identify precise locations like the kitchen sink or the refrigerator door. When creating your route, maintain clockwise movement whenever possible. This creates consistency and prevents confusion during recall. Draw a floor plan if necessary, but ensure every station along your journey is crystal clear in your mind. A common mistake is trying to use too many locations at once. Start with just 5 to 10 stations until you're comfortable with the process. You can always expand later, but building a solid foundation is crucial. Test your route by mentally walking through it several times. You should be able to move from station to station without hesitation or confusion. If any areas feel fuzzy or unclear, adjust your route or choose different locations. Consider incorporating multiple sensory elements at each station. Notice the lighting, the sounds, the textures, and even the smells associated with each location. The more vivid and multi-sensory your mental image, the stronger your memory anchors will become. Remember, your memory palace should feel natural and comfortable. Don't force yourself to use locations that don't resonate with you. The best memory palaces are those that feel like second nature to navigate. Here's where the real magic happens. Transforming information into memorable images within your memory palace. The key principle is creating vivid, unusual, and interactive mental images that stick in your mind. Let's say you need to remember the word elephant at your first station, the front door. Don't just imagine a static elephant standing there. Instead, visualize an elephant trying to squeeze through your doorway, maybe wearing a party hat and attempting to ring the doorbell with its trunk. The more outrageous and emotionally engaging your images, the more memorable they become. Use exaggeration, humor, and movement. Make things impossibly large or tiny. Add color, sound, and action. The brain remembers the unusual and forgets the ordinary. Here's a crucial technique. Ensure your images interact with their locations. If you're placing microphone at your kitchen sink, don't just see a microphone sitting there. Imagine it sprouting from the faucet, singing opera, while dishes dance in response. For abstract concepts, develop consistent symbolic representations. Justice might be a giant scale crushing your coffee table. Democracy could be voting booths sprouting like mushrooms from your carpet. The key is consistency. Use the same symbols each time you encounter these concepts. When dealing with numbers, consider developing a person-action-object system. Assign specific images to numbers 0-9, then combine them to represent larger numbers. This creates a standardized encoding system that speeds up the process significantly. As you become comfortable with basic memory palace techniques, you can explore more advanced applications. One powerful approach is creating hierarchical systems of connected palaces. Imagine having different memory palaces for different subjects. One for history, another for science, a third for language learning. You can link these palaces together, creating vast networks of organized information. For language learning, create specific areas for different aspects of vocabulary. One room for verbs, another for nouns, a third for idioms. Each location can hold multiple related items, organized by theme or usage. Professional speakers use memory palaces to deliver hours-long presentations without notes. They create specific journeys for different talks, with each station holding key points, examples, and transitions. Medical students use anatomical memory palaces, mapping information onto actual body structures. Business professionals create palaces for client details, product specifications, and market data. Consider developing specialized palaces for different types of information. Use outdoor locations for broader concepts, indoor spaces for detailed information. Create palaces with different emotional tones for different types of content. Maintaining and strengthening your memory palaces requires consistent practice and review. Implement a spaced repetition schedule, reviewing information at increasing intervals as it becomes more firmly established. Develop regular training exercises. Practice creating vivid images quickly. Work on maintaining multiple palaces simultaneously. Challenge yourself to encode more complex information in more sophisticated ways. Common challenges include interference between similar locations and fading of poorly maintained images. Address these through distinct palace design and regular review. Keep palaces active through consistent use and updating. Remember that memory palaces are not just about storing information. They're about creating meaningful connections and understanding. Use your palaces to explore relationships between ideas, discover new insights, and deepen your comprehension. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more advanced memory techniques and cognitive enhancement strategies. Together, we'll explore the extraordinary potential of your mind and develop capabilities you never thought possible. The memory palace technique isn't just a tool. It's a gateway to expanded cognitive capabilities and deeper understanding. By mastering this ancient art, you're not just improving your memory, you're transforming how you think, learn, and interact with information.